Hey everybody, welcome to Thursday night inside the wrongful conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw, episode 8. And then I just have one more thing that I want to share, but it looks like the news has gotten out, but here we go. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut everybody off on the panel. We didn't really get a chance to talk much or chat much before we got going tonight, so I apologize for not warning you guys that I was going to do that. So before I get started, I want to welcome everybody on the panel. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Yeah.
Hey,
Kay's going to read.
I guess I'm unprepared here. Is the document in our chat?
Yes, I pinned it because I knew it would get lost in all of the conversation, gotcha. So it should be
okay.
pinned.
Thank you.
You bet. So Kay is going to read the Terri Morris part of the trial transcript tonight, like she did during the pretrial or preliminary transcript. Kay's a great reader, so we look forward to that. And Jack, how are you doing? You're muted.
Well, if I'm mute, I'm doing better. Yeah, hey, I'm doing good. Thanks. Welcome everybody, and looking forward to. I chose that word wisely. Looking forward to this. It should be interesting.
Yeah. I think it will be interesting because we're going to get a different taste of cross-examination tonight because Robert Gray, Scott Adams' co-counsel, will be cross-examining Terri Morris. So Jack's still going to read that part, but I would expect some different language, possibly, or not language, but
way of speaking.
Questions. Right, the way of speaking. Yeah. So hopefully that turns out well. I really don't know because I want to remain. I read this a long time ago, but I haven't read it in preparation for tonight. So I want to be as surprised as I can.
Right.
So, and Cherie is, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Conviction of Wrongful Conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw.
Thank you. Maybe I didn't pin it. I thought I did, but it's possible I didn't. Right here. I'm just going to copy the message link or however that works.
I shared it.
You got it? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Gosh, I thought I pinned that. I'm trying to get all my shit together, guys. It's hard for me sometimes. I'm one of the few that doesn't work and I can't keep my shit together. So sorry about that. Susan is having internet trouble, so she will join us as soon as she can, if she can. And in the meantime, Cherie, you're going to do the court. Would you be willing to read Lori McConnell's direct examination, and I'll read the court parts? If not, that's okay.
Yeah, I can do it. I'm sure.
For sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know you can. It's just a matter of how you feel about it. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just start sharing really quickly some things online. I mean, on the screen, some messages, as you saw in that very short clip. Yes, after a lot of thought and consideration, I decided to membership thing. So I appreciate those of you who have already joined. That really means a lot to me. It means a lot to Daniel, I know, and to his family, the support. that that you offer in doing that is really, really helpful. And I hopefully it came through, or it comes through when you read. I don't really know where you see it at, but I only have one membership level right now because I still have a lot of stuff I don't really know or understand about it. And so, but as time goes on, there will be, I will probably have more levels. With the level that I have offered, though, you will, if you're a member, if you join, you will be. I will create a room in my Discord for members only, and it'll be private. And you will get to read preliminary and trial transcripts the day before we read it live. So I don't know. I really struggled because I didn't really know what kinds of things to offer. And I just thought, that sounds like a good idea. So hopefully that will be of interest to those of you who have already joined. And, we will, as time goes on. I'm sorry?
That's quite a privilege, I think.
I think so. I think so. I mean, I would appreciate that, I think, if it was another channel. But, listen, I am up for all kinds of suggestions, too, from those of you who have joined, or from if you haven't joined yet. If you have ideas, that we could use for perks for the channel, for the membership, let me, message me on Discord or put it in the comments here on the video. And if there's things that we can do, can share with you as members, we want to do that. But to make sure everyone understands also, Daniel's case is in post-conviction. So unfortunately, there are some things that I guess can't be shared yet. But as things become available, we can certainly add them to different levels of payment or whatever. So, anyway, that's kind of, I'm excited about it. I was so afraid of it. I'm still nervous about it. I'm nervous of the, how it all is going to play out and work. But, you just trial and error kind of thing, right? So every bit is helpful, and just your memberships alone are helpful right now. It's going to help us with transcripts and or possibly his legal fund. So definitely need the help with the transcripts, because I know I've said this a lot. They're $1.75 a page. So, every bit of that, is definitely going to be helpful for us, or for Daniel. Excuse me. So tonight we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me get my screen shared up here. And there we go. Oh, okay. And we will, this is only about 53 or 54 pages long, so it won't be a lengthy episode tonight again. Next week will be, because Rocky Gregory will testify on Terri Morris's behalf, and his is like 157 pages. So next week, just plan ahead. It will be a much longer episode for sure. Okay, let me. It's not going what to do. Okay. And as for tonight, I will put this in Terri Morris's room in Discord, and then you can look at this with the police report and the preliminary report, and make all of your own connections and pick out your own. And hopefully that will, spark some conversation in the Discord, and also in on the comment section of the video. Okay, blah blah blah. I don't know what is happening with the screen. You guys see the?
Yeah, I saw it went. You got a black screen, then it went back. I don't know.
I don't know why that does that. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. So, also, everybody that's watching from South Play channel, again, thank you, Jack, for streaming in South Play. Come over to my channel, subscribe, join, and and support my channel as well if you wouldn't mind. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Is everyone ready? Has everybody got their own copy open?
Yeah, I'm reading
Yeah.
from my own.
Yeah, I'm reading mine.
Okay, Cherie?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, I just want to make sure I don't hold up anybody else. So, with my scrolling, so I'll read the court part, and then Cherie will start with direct examination. Okay. So the state has called Terri Morris, and the court says, "All right, ma'am, step around in front of me there and raise your right hand." And then she's sworn in. "All right, if you'll have a seat over here in this chair, once you get situated, pull that microphone right around in front of you. If you would state your name and spell it for us, please."
Terri Morris, Terri, middle initial L. Can I start over? Terri Lynn Morris, Terri, middle initial Lynn, Morris, Morris.
All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Miss Morris, are you familiar with the Liberty Station Apartments?
Yes.
Okay, do you know where they're located?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
26 in Lindsay, 26 Northeast 26th and Lindsay.
Okay, have you been to that apartment complex before?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to draw your attention to May of 2014. Were you?
I don't know why that's doing that. I'm so sorry.
Were you in that apartment complex sometime during May of 2014?
Yes.
Did an officer approach you when you were at that apartment complex?
Yes.
Tell me how that happened.
I was leaving the apartments and I just barely made it out the gates, maybe not even fully to the corner, but midway to between the corner and the gate.
Okay, so
Past the gate, but before I got to the corner.
were you outside, excuse me, the apartment complex then?
Yes.
Okay, just right outside the gate that leads into the apartment area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what happened once you got outside the gate?
The police officer stopped and asked my name and asked me, did I have anything on me? And did I mind if did I have any warrants or something like, well, however y'all say it.
Whenever this officer stopped you outside the gate, were you by yourself or with any other people?
I was by myself.
Okay, this officer who stopped you, was he by himself or with other officers?
By himself.
Was he on foot or in a patrol car?
He was in a patrol car.
Okay, and whenever he stopped you, did he get out of his patrol car or did he stay inside?
He stayed inside.
And you said that he had asked you.
Well, he got out to let me in to put me in the car.
Okay, but when he first started talking to you, like you were telling me just now, was he inside the patrol car?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I think you told me he had asked you if you had anything on you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and
Well, any weapons or anything they should know of.
okay, and what did you tell him?
I said, I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, did you have anything illegal?
Yeah, I had a crack pipe.
Did you tell the officer about that?
I don't remember, but he got it anyway out of my purse.
Okay, so somehow this officer found the crack pipe.
No, he asked when he asked for my purse, I gave him my purse. It was just right there.
Okay, so are you telling me, ma'am, that this officer asked to see your purse?
Yeah, he was searching for weapons and make sure I didn't have nothing.
And was the crack pipe inside your purse?
No audible response.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
So whenever he looked inside your purse, that's when you found it? When he
Yes.
found it?
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever he found the crack pipe, what happened next?
Well, and then we were sitting in the car. I was in the back seat, and I guess he was waiting on the county or whatever to see if I had any warrants or whatever. I guess I came back clear. I'm pretty sure I did because I didn't have one. And I thought that when he got out that he was getting ready to let me go.
Did you hear him call on the radio or type anything on the computer?
Not really. I don't know. Shoot, I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention because I get stopped so much. I wasn't even really paying attention.
Did you get into his patrol car whenever he stopped you right outside the Liberty Station apartment gate?
Uh-huh. He put me in the... Well, yeah.
Was that after he found the crack pipe?
I think that was. I think I was already in.
Okay. Whenever you got in the patrol car, were you put in the back seat?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you stay at the Liberty Station apartments or did you go somewhere else?
Oh, we went somewhere else.
Where did you go from Liberty Station?
To some 24th and Lindsay. There's some apartments on that street too.
Okay. Do you know what the name of that apartment complex is, Miss Morris?
Well, I did. I can't remember.
Okay. And what's across from the apartment complex on 24th and Lindsay?
The museum, some type of museum. I think it's a prehistoric, I don't know, some kind of museum.
And I didn't ask you,
I ain't never been over there.
Miss Morris, I'm sorry, I didn't ask you before. What time of day was this whenever this officer stopped you?
It was still light outside. I don't know. It was kind of evening.
Okay.
Can you say that? You can say that. I know that. I know that.
What happened after you got to this apartment complex at 24th and Lindsay?
Well, it's a wooden gate, and then they got iron gates right before the wooden gates. That's where he was, I guess. I thought he was checking to see if I had any warrants right there.
Did you hear him doing that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But
did he tell you that you had any warrants?
No, no.
What happened next?
Well, then he got out the car. I thought that
the police officer got out of the car, Miss Morris?
Yeah.
What happened after he got out of the car?
I thought that he was, right afterwards, he was looking at my crack pipe. He had it in his hand, and he'd tell me, that you could go to jail for this. And I said, I know. I said, most officers mostly just break them.
That's what you told this officer, is that most officers just break the pipes?
No audible response.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he say when you told him that?
Well, he said, you're not supposed to have this, so I can't let you have this. So then he got out the car. I thought he was about to let me out. Then he walked to the back seat where I was sitting. I was in the back on the driver's side in the back.
Did he open the door?
Yes.
Did he search you?
He asked me, was I wearing any panties? What kind of panties I had on? And I said, kind of caught me off guard. So I was like, what? And he was like, unzip your pants.
You just told me, ma'am, that you had contact with officers before. Do you remember saying that?
Not that type.
Had any officer ever asked you to do that?
No.
Okay, what happened after he asked you to open your pants?
So I did it. I mean, of course, he's the police. What am I supposed to do? And then he told me to raise my shirt up. So I did.
Let me make sure I understand, Miss Morris. Whenever he said open your pants,
Unzip.
you unzipped. Were you wearing jeans or
Yeah, I was wearing jeans.
were you wearing any underwear that day, Miss Morris?
No.
So when you unzipped your pants, is that all you did with your pants was just unzip them?
Yeah.
What did the officer do whenever you unzipped your pants?
He looked.
Where did he look?
He didn't touch me. He just looked.
Did he look at your vaginal area?
No audible response.
Was it exposed whenever you unzipped your pants?
Yeah.
And then you just told me that he told you to raise your shirt.
No audible response.
Were you wearing a bra that day?
No, ma'am.
When you raised your shirt, how far did you raise it up your body? You kind of indicated to your upper chest area, is that right?
Oh, yeah, I raised it. I don't know.
Were your breasts exposed whenever you did that?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he do whenever you raised your shirt?
Then he asked me to give him some oral.
Is that the words that he used? Was give me?
I can't remember. Because I was so doggone shocked and scared.
What happened after he asked you to give him oral sex?
I started crying, saying no, and he was saying, oh, come on, just 3 or 4 licks. 3 or 4 licks or something.
What did you do?
Suck it 3 or... Huh?
What did you do after that?
Well, I complied, and I was real crying and upset.
Was it something that you felt like you had to do?
Yes.
Why?
Because he was the police.
And Miss Morris, I don't want to embarrass you, but did his penis go in your mouth?
Yes.
And what happened next?
I complied.
Did he say anything to you while that was happening?
No.
How did his penis come out of his pants?
I guess it must have put it because his belt and stuff was still done.
So the belt that holds his gun?
Stuff was still done, so I'm thinking that maybe he did just undid his pants, maybe a zipper or a button or whatever it is that they have right there.
But am I right that his gun belt was still on when that was happening?
No audible response.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Did he ejaculate whenever that happened?
I don't know. He had a condom on.
Okay. What happened next?
And then he got back in the car. Well, I did say, I said, well, can I at least have my pipe back because I know none of that stuff was right. So I didn't see why I had to comply with the rest of this stuff.
So you asked the officer to give you back your crack pipe?
I asked him if I could have it.
Did he give it back to you?
Yes.
Did you stay in his car at that point?
Well, he asked me where was I going to go. And I had already told him I was going to my Uncle Terry Wayne's. But he kept trying to make me think he said, I need to get my story straight. I said, I always say I was going to my Uncle Terry Wayne's. He said, I thought you said you were going over to your Aunt Shirley's. I said, no, I said I was coming from my Aunt Shirley's in the apartment.
And let me make sure I understand, Miss Morris. Had he asked you at some point where you were coming from whenever he stopped you?
No audible response.
Okay, and did you tell him you were coming from your Aunt Shirley's?
Yeah, but he tried to say I told him I was coming from my Uncle Terry Wayne's going to my Aunt Shirley's, but I said no. And he said I need to get my story straight. But I said, I said that I was coming from my Aunt Shirley's, going to my Uncle Terry Wayne's up the street so I could, because I wanted to go lay down.
Where does Terry Wayne live, or where did he live at that time?
He lives in Capitol Crossing on Northeast 26 in Kelly.
Okay, and that's where he was living back whenever the officer stopped you?
Yes.
Okay, did you tell this officer that?
That's where I was going. And so he get ready and let me out of the car so I could, and then I get out of the car and he asked me where I was going. And I said, my Uncle Terry Wayne's. And he says, I don't think it's safe for you to walk. I think I better take you.
Okay.
So he makes me get back in the car, but I'm begging him, telling him I'm okay, I promise. And he says, no, I think I better give you a ride.
So tell me how he drives at that point, how you remember his route.
Well, so instead of going, because we was only on 24th and Lindsay, instead of him going 2 blocks up to 26 and Kelly, he goes down on 3200 block on my grandma's street, which is 812 East Hill.
So does he go north, more north than he should?
I don't know. I don't know my northwest and south and east like that.
Whenever he drives, is he just going straight or is he making lots of turns?
He goes straight, then he turns, then he goes down. That's in 24th and Lindsay, and Hill Street's probably about 6 or 7 blocks apart.
So he takes you to Hill Street?
Yeah, 33rd, 3200 or 3300 block.
And that's an area that you've been to before?
Yeah, I grew up there. My grandma lives on that street.
What does he do whenever you get to that 32nd and Hill area?
There's an open field down the street from my grandma, and of course he turned, and it's like he's getting ready to turn into this field, and then it's like he stops and think about it for a second, and then it's like he almost changes his mind. I just don't know what he was gonna do to me or finish doing to me. I don't know what was going on, but...
So did he actually turn into the field, Miss Morris?
No. He got ready to, like he cut his wheel ready to,
Did he actually stop the car?
like turn it off.
Yeah.
No,
Did he?
but he stopped for a second.
So he put on his brakes there?
Well, like you're gonna make a turn, then you change your mind.
What? Did you say anything to him whenever he did that?
I was telling him I need to go see my counselor the next morning. That's why I was leaving, going to lay down.
What
Hey,
happened next?
before we move
never
on past
heard that before.
before we move on past line 22, I just want to point something out if I can, if that's okay with everybody.
Of course,
Mhm.
of course.
Okay, so he's driven her down to this apartment complex. Now they've left at this point, but he drove her down to this apartment complex, and this is supposed to have happened right there in front of this apartment complex, and it's still light outside. She said it was still light. That's what I'm understanding. Is that correct?
So isn't the original story, she tells different stories, but isn't the original story he stops her there at the apartment complex when she comes out of her supposed Aunt Shirley's, who's not her Aunt Shirley at all, it's just a crack dealer. And I mean, and Daniel has been watching her because he has another guy stopped that he's calling in, and we've heard that radio traffic too. And as soon as he ends the stop with this other guy, he stops her immediately because she's walking away at this point to question her about what she's doing coming out of the crack house. So the original story, once she's in jail, I mean, so it's not the original story, but the original story regarding an assault at that location is, if I'm not mistaken, is that he puts her in the car and then drives her a few blocks away, and that's where he assaults her. But it's still not
You're right there on a probably, I won't say necessarily a main road, but a well-traveled road, and it's still daylight.
I mean, cars could come around there. It seems like that road circling around there circles back around behind that neighborhood.
Right.
Because
I remember. Sorry.
No,
Go ahead,
I was just gonna say most roads that have an apartment complex of any size, there's traffic at any time. I mean, come on. I'm sorry, Sheree, go ahead.
I just noticed you were talking about daylight and stuff, and I remember her saying it was just getting dark. I remember her saying that in one of her earlier interviews. But that's all I have to say.
Also, I just would like to go back to our trip to Oklahoma City last summer, and even though it's this, I think we've said this before, at least on our video that we did about the trip, that the streets there where all of these assaults allegedly happened were very, very small. They were so narrow, and even where there were apartments, like Liberty Station Apartments, we drove right by there. They're very small. So the fact that even if he did assault her, if that had occurred where she says it did there on the 8th, the area was just so small. Like the homes and the apartments and everything are very close together. And it would be, even if it was dark, in my opinion, it would be very difficult to not see something strange going on. Now, in the original story that she tells that occurred on the 20th or 21st of May, she says that it occurred on the 20th or 21st of May. We're not really sure where that assault took place. Like there's no AVL or anything like that that shows assault might have. And Terri says that she doesn't know the area down there, downtown. And so she didn't know where it happened. And if you remember back to her first interview in the office with Rocky Gregory, when he was badgering her and bullying her and pounding her, she was like crying, like, I don't know where it happened. And this is still when before Rocky introduces May 8th, this is still from the 20th or 21st, that I believe that the actual assault took place by some other person who was either another police officer or someone impersonating a police officer. But anyway, after he assaults her in some unknown location down in downtown Oklahoma City, he then puts her in the car and drives her. He says he's going to give her a ride to the city rescue mission, whoever this person is. But he doesn't actually take her to the city rescue mission. He kind of drops her off and just kind of lets her find her own way, if I remember correctly. So either version of the story, because we don't know where it really happened on the 20th or 21st, it's hard to say. But by any apartment complex down there by Liberty Station and all those little areas around there, the streets are very narrow, very close together. And I believe it would have been very easy for anybody, whether even if it was dark, to walking the street or driving to have seen something. And I think, Cherie, I don't know if you remember the streets that way, or Kay, but that's how I remember it. And we made those comments just about every location we went to, that our minds couldn't grasp how the hell these alleged assaults took place on these streets, as small and narrow as they were to us. Anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I agree. They were very narrow.
So yeah, your point is valid. And even if it was, so this is May 8th, allegedly. So it's probably starting to stay light longer outside. And I would have to look at the AVL for May 8th with the original contact that Daniel did have with her, and see what time is on the AVL where he, did have contact with her to really have a better idea. I'll have to check that out, unless Kay knows from a report or something.
I don't have that in my head anymore.
I know. It's been a long time since we covered Terri Morris, way back in, several years ago when we started doing this. So, hey, Crime Vault, thanks for joining us. So anyway, yeah, I Jack, I think you're right on with that, of course. So okay,
yeah, I'm just saying, it just didn't make any sense. I'm thinking to myself, okay, she said it was still light outside, even if it was twilight. The risk.
Well, I mean, your point, no matter how busy it is or not, any car could have driven by there.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody could have popped out of those apartments and they'd be like, what the hell is going on here?
And I think that's what you're saying too, Jack, is just that any traffic, regardless of how light or dark it was, that is a huge risk. And when thinking about it, all of these locations, the same applies in all of those locations. Anybody could have driven by at any time and seen something weird happening. So
that's right.
Okay. And thank you, Jack, for your membership.
Oh, you bet.
Yes, I think it's line 22. Yes.
Line 22. Yeah.
What happened next?
And he kept telling me to calm down, and I was practically screaming.
And that was?
I was hysterical, more like.
And he told you to calm down?
Yeah, he told me that several times.
Okay, so after he didn't turn into this 32nd and Hill Field, what happened next?
Well, then he finally drove and took me to where I was going.
To 26 and Kelly to Terry Wayne's house?
Well, he took me to the opening of the apartments, the opening part.
And he drove off?
Yeah.
Mr. Giger, may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
May approach.
Miss McConnell. Miss Morris, I'm handing you what's marked as States Exhibit 298, 299, 305, and 306.
Yeah.
As you look through those with me just now, do you recognize these pictures?
Yes.
Are they pictures of where the officer took you in May of 2014?
Yeah. That one is where he picked me up right there.
And Your Honor, the state moves to admit States Exhibits 298, 299, 305, and 306.
No objection, Judge.
Sorry. All right. States Exhibit 298, 299, 305, 306 will be admitted.
Terry, I'm putting States Exhibit 298 up. It's on that screen. Can you see that to your right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think you just told me it's States Exhibit 298, the outside of Liberty Station Apartments.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's where this officer stopped you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm showing you States Exhibit 299. What's this a picture of?
That's the area where he assaulted me.
At 24th and Lindsay?
Yeah.
Is this the apartment complex that you were telling me you were next to?
Yes.
Okay, in States Exhibit 305, what's that a picture of?
That's the field. That's down the street from my grandmother's. It's like a big open field.
Is that the field you said he almost turned into?
Yes.
Okay, and States Exhibit 306, what's that a picture of?
That's Terri Wayne's house.
Is that near where this officer dropped you off?
Yeah, just he didn't take me to that house directly. It's an opening to any apartments. There is an opening. That's the last house on in the there's only 2 rows of them.
And that's where Terry Wayne lived?
Yeah.
Okay, after this happened, Miss Morris, did you tell the police that day what happened to you?
No, not that day. I told Terri Wayne.
Why didn't you tell police that day?
Because I was scared. Like, who's going to believe me? Would you believe a person been in jail for prostitution and crack and smoking crack? Never been on the right side of the law. Would you believe me? No.
Did you tell the police eventually about what happened?
No. I mean, well, yeah. Well, my ex-boyfriend actually called Christopher Shelton. He made the call. He was calling him about something else. We were having a domestic.
Whenever you told police the first time, was that some days after what happened with this officer?
About 3 or 4.
Okay. And when you told the police, did a detective try to get a hold of you to talk about it with you some more?
Yeah, I was nervous. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to talk to him, though. I didn't want to.
Sorry.
I just wanted it to go away.
Can we pause for just a second, Sheree?
Uh-huh.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, Kay.
That's all right. Hang on. I'm going to mute. I'll be right back. Sam's snoring
Okay.
real loud. I need to get him out of here.
Okay. So this is where, again, if you're, thinking back to her original story, this is where she kind of starts talking about that date again because she said, what was it she said? That it, let's see, let me go back. Let's see here. So she starts talking about, well, my ex-boyfriend actually called Christopher Shelton. He made the call. He was calling him about something else. We were having a domestic. So whenever you told police the first time, was that some days after what happened with this officer? Terri answers about 3 or 4. So you realize now that she's actually talking about the call, that 911 call we heard weeks ago was made on May 24th. On that May 24th 911 call, when this all got started, that she'd been raped by a police officer, it was 3 or 4 days before that 911 call. So here we are. Now, again, it was about how many days after what had happened with this officer? About 3 or 4. So she's got that 3 or 4 days before the 911 call, in her head still, because that's her original story. That's her, and I believe that is exactly when the assault by whoever it was actually took place. My opinion, of course. That's all I want to say. Carry on.
Okay. Is what line? Well,
Line 8.
okay, thank you. Okay, this detective sitting to my right, Rocky Gregory, do you know him?
Yeah,
Did you talk to him about what happened?
not at first.
Why didn't you talk to him at first?
Well, because I was scared. I just wanted it to go away.
Whenever you talked to Detective Gregory at first, Miss Morris, did you tell him that you had been stopped by this officer at Liberty Station Apartments?
Yeah. No. Christopher called and we were having a domestic in the car anyway, and he had called. But I had told Chris what had happened, and he had already said, you need to report this to the police. And I was begging him not to, but he did anyway. Is that how that happened?
It's not how I remember it.
And Miss Morris, I just want to make sure I understand. When you first told police about Detective Gregory, Rocky sitting here, about what happened, did you tell them that you had been stopped at Liberty Station Apartments, or did you tell them that you had been stopped somewhere else?
No, I lied and told him somewhere else because I didn't want my boyfriend to know at the time, which was Chris Shelton, that, because I wasn't supposed to be over there.
Where did you tell officers that you'd gotten stopped at?
I think around by this rescue mission down the street, somewhere downtown.
When you say that you didn't tell them about Liberty Station because you weren't supposed to be there, why were you not supposed to be there?
Well, because I didn't want my boyfriend to know.
Why didn't you want him to know?
Because I didn't want him to know I was using drugs.
Okay, is that what you were at Liberty Station Apartments for that day?
I don't know. I think so. I don't know. I don't think I was even using, but I had been.
And man, do you take a prescription medicine for your moods right now?
Yeah, I take imipramine, which is prescribed from Red Rock.
After you told Detective Gregory initially that you had been stopped at the city rescue mission, did you later tell him that it was actually Liberty Station Apartments where you stopped?
Yeah.
Why did you tell him that?
Why?
Uh-huh.
Well, because, they were figuring it out anyway. I mean, everything was coming to the open, so it wasn't no.
Did you talk to Detective Gregory more than one time about this?
About what?
About what had happened with the officer who stopped you at Liberty Station?
Yeah, we did. He tried to get me to file a report several times. They took more time looking for me, though.
And when you said they wanted you to file a report, was that something that you wanted to do?
I did, but I didn't. I was scared.
Tell me what you mean by I did and I didn't.
Well, I wanted to file one, but didn't want to because I don't want none of the police friends or nobody to come and threaten me or something. I was scared.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Miss Morris, this officer that you've talked to me about who stopped you outside of Liberty Station Apartments, is he in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me where he's sitting and what color he's wearing?
He's sitting right there.
To your left?
Yes.
What color is he wearing?
A purple shirt, a black dress coat.
Your Honor, may the record reflect identification of the defendant?
And stripy tie.
All right. The record will reflect that this witness has identified the defendant.
After this happened to you at Liberty, after this officer stopped you at Liberty Station Apartments, how has this affected you, Miss Morris?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
All right. Sustained.
How has it affected me?
Hang on, ma'am. Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Come up.
Judge, how this has affected her and any changes in her daily behavior goes straight to her credibility and will be relevant.
Just, it has nothing to do with whether this occurred or not, whatever day she puts it, and it's just irrelevant.
Okay. Well, I'll sustain the objection.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Cross-examination.
But Mr. Gray, all right, Miss Morris, just so we can get a clear picture of what happened here, your first contact with police was actually on May 24th of 2014 at 23rd and Kelly when we first hear about this, correct?
Well, I guess. I don't remember the date.
You're having a domestic incident with Mr. Shelton, correct?
Right.
And if records reflect May 24th of 2014, do you dispute that at all?
No, sir.
Do you recall it being around 3 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall walking down Kelly around 3 a.m. and being picked up by Mr. Shelton?
Yeah.
Do you recall getting into an argument with him at that time?
Yes, sir.
And you all go to there's a Valero station at 23rd and Kelly, is there not?
Yes, sir.
And he pulls over there.
Yes, sir.
Y'all are arguing.
Yes, sir.
You start tearing up his radio.
Yes, sir.
Start beating up the inside of his vehicle.
Yes, sir.
And he calls 911. 911.
Yes, sir.
And did you refuse to get out of the car?
Yes, sir.
When the police arrived, you were actually out running around in the parking lot, weren't you?
No, I wasn't running around the parking lot. I've been high, confused, and upset, and high and confused. And I just was.
What were you high on, ma'am?
Crack cocaine?
And how soon, before 3 a.m., how soon prior to that had you smoked it?
Probably a couple hours, but I'd been up a couple days since my incident.
So you'd been up a couple of days since your incident, correct?
Uh-huh.
And are we calling your alleged assault by this officer the incident?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ma'am, a couple of days before that would be around the May 20th, May 21st of 2014. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I can tell you. I can tell you exactly how accurate about 3 or 4 days.
Prior to the domestic incident we've talked about, correct?
Yeah.
Now, out there at 23rd and Kelly, you talked to several officers, did you not?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall giving them details of what happened?
Oh, yes, sir. I actually, Chris Shelton was well, he started was telling me that I need to tell them what I told him.
Okay. Then did officers take you away from Mr. Shelton and interview you away from him?
Well, they was talking to us in the parking lot mostly about the domestic. Then when that came to the light, they were talking to me. He was still there.
They placed you in the back of a squad car while they were interviewing you?
No, sir, they were talking to me outside.
Just standing out in the parking lot there.
Yeah, we were all outside.
Now, were you and Mr. Shelton dating at this time?
Well, yes, we were together.
When did y'all break up?
Well, right when I had lied about being over there and he was mad because he hadn't seen me in a few days.
Okay. When did you lie about being over there?
Well, that night that we had our argument.
So you told Mr. Shelton on that night that you had been at Liberty Station.
No, I had told him I wasn't at Liberty Station when it happened. I told him that it happened downtown.
You told Mr. Shelton it happened downtown.
Yeah, by the rescue mission because I wasn't supposed to be in that area.
Back to my original question. When did you and Mr. Shelton break up?
That night.
That night.
Hmm.
Do you recall talking to an officer, Jonathan Thomas, out there?
Oh, I don't remember their names.
But you do recall talking to several officers.
Yes.
Do you recall telling the officers that the officer that had assaulted you did not wear a condom?
No, I said he had on a condom.
That's what you told the officers that night.
I always said he had on a condom.
Okay. Then the officers, after they interviewed you, they let you go, correct?
Yes.
Because you, at the time, were homeless.
Yes.
And they had nowhere to take you.
Well, yes. I mean, actually, I was doing a drug treatment at the rescue mission, the Bridge to Life program.
We'll get there, ma'am. Just a few more questions about the 24th, and we'll get to the drug program we just talked about. So you leave the Valero. So you leave the Valero there on foot, correct?
Yes.
And you actually go and track down Mr. Shelton at an apartment, do you not?
Yes, 36th apartments.
And the police come out to that incident again.
Yes.
Then where did you go after that?
I went to my friend's apartment up on 36 and I laid down for the night, for the rest of the night.
Do you recall the same officers responding to that incident that had responded to the domestic incident?
Yes, well, one of them.
At least one of them?
Yeah.
All right. Man, we're going to fast forward to June the 3rd of 2014.
Okay.
On that day, you were placed in the back of a patrol car by an officer, Malley.
I apologize, but I don't remember their names.
Do you recall being placed in the back of a patrol car sometime in June of 2014?
Are you talking about in front of Terri Wayne's house?
Well, the first time that you met Mr. Gregory.
Yeah.
Do you recall that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall being placed in the back of the patrol car?
No audible response.
They even tell you why you were. They even tell you why they were doing that.
Well, yeah, they wanted me to. They've been trying to track me down
Okay.
to file a report.
A report about the incident that you were involved in.
Well, because I didn't want to file one because I didn't want no problems. Like no more. I didn't want no problems with the police, sir, and nobody else harassing me or anything and trying to hurt me.
You were agitated at the time, were you not?
When?
When you were placed in the back of the patrol car.
I was sleeping.
You deny that you were banging your head against the cage?
I wasn't banging my head.
Were you upset, Ms. Morse?
Well, I was tired. Yeah, I was upset because I didn't want to go.
And you talked to Detective Gregory out there from the patrol car, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he talks you into going downtown, correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you go with him?
Yes, sir.
Once you got downtown, you're interviewed there. Do you recall it?
Yes, sir. Is she saying that she got into the car with Rocky and rode with him downtown?
That's what it
Yes,
sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what I'm getting from it.
But after that
And
interview, at the end of that interview, doesn't Rocky say, I'll get the officer to take you back to where he
Yep.
picked you up?
Yeah, I don't think it was Rocky that brought her to the station that day, but
I guess we don't know. But I mean,
I
apparently
guess we don't
Maley
know.
was still there.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
guess
he
I
could
just
have
assumed it was me. Yeah, so I guess I just assumed it was Melee,
Okay.
but I could be wrong. I don't know. Like you said, we don't know. Speculating.
interesting. Okay, line 19. And you know that is audio and video recorded, do you not?
Well, I can't remember. I think he told me, well, I don't know.
So he warned you up front.
Well, I think. I don't remember.
Okay.
Well, I think so.
Do you recall signing a refusal to prosecute form on that day?
Yes.
You recall telling Detective Gregory that you didn't want anything to do with this.
Yes, I did.
You just wanted to leave.
I did.
You wanted him to leave you alone, correct?
Yes.
Police department just leave you alone.
Yes.
You're going to move out of town, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I said that so they would leave me alone, or I thought.
All right. Ma'am, that's the second time. Now, the third time you had a second contact with Detective Gregory, did you not?
Yeah, I think I was in the county jail then.
Back up before that. At some time, Detective Gregory had someone show you a photo lineup. Do you recall that?
That was the same day.
Okay. So you dispute that was the June 24th and you were still out on the streets that day.
That was the same day when I refused to sign my thing.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. So you're saying that you were shown a photo lineup on the same day that you signed the refusal form?
Yes.
If the refusal form shows June 3rd,
I don't remember, man. This stuff is getting jumbled up.
I'm trying to be fair with you, ma'am. I'm giving you days and...
I don't remember the dates. I wasn't focused on the dates or none of that.
Oh, all right. Well, disregarding the dates of the officers talking to you, let's just think about how many times you talked to Detective Gregory.
I think 2 or 3 times.
Okay, so maybe 3.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Let's assume there's a second time you were shown a photo lineup and you're out. In fact, I'll tell you where you were. Judge, if I may have a moment,
Yes.
ma'am, we'll come back to that. In any event, do you recall doing a photo lineup?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall a Detective Higginbottom talking to you?
I recall the officer. I don't remember their names.
Was it someone other than Detective Gregory that actually showed you the photos?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Do you recall being in the back of a police car when that happened?
Yes.
Okay. So you're with me now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall telling Officer Higginbottom or Detective Higginbottom that the first picture you saw was the person that assaulted you?
I recall pointing at I believe his picture and another picture, another one that looked just like him. It was two. Then I was going back and forth, but I know at the end I ended up picking the right picture. Okay. No wonder there's a not guilty on her charges.
Yeah, well, and let's just remember that she didn't end up picking anybody that day. She didn't choose any of them.
Well, she chose
So-
two back and forth,
Yeah.
but said, I'm getting confused. They all look alike.
Yeah,
I just
and that
don't
was
want to pick
Jeff,
one because I'm not sure.
right.
That's what
And
yeah.
she had selected Jeff Dutton and Daniel.
Wow. That's crazy.
But it's not, I mean, I'm not surprised that she would have chosen Daniel in the lineup because she had seen him May 8th when he did legitimately stop her at Liberty Station. So anyway.
Okay, line 22. Okay, but you weren't really sure on the photos that they showed you, correct?
Well, no, because all of them kind of look similar.
Okay. Now, on this date that we're talking about, you also finally told Detective Gregory what happened, did you not?
No, not until I was in the county jail.
So you're denying that you told.
I told him what happened. I just didn't want to file a report.
Okay, but so you told Detective Gregory the city rescue mission story, correct?
Right.
Let's take the city rescue mission story, if you will. What date do you think that, talking about the city rescue mission, you told Detective Gregory you were downtown?
Yeah, I lied because I didn't want Chris. I didn't want Chris to find out. I didn't want him to break up with me. I didn't want to argue with him. I didn't want to break up.
And you told Detective Gregory that you were near the city rescue mission, correct?
Yes.
You told him that it was Officer Holtzclaw that picked you up down there, correct?
What the hell?
What is he doing?
Well, this is
He's
her
not
own.
getting.
This is Daniel's attorney saying incorrect shit.
Yeah, well, yes. But the way I'm reading that is that he's going to, unfortunately, he's making a bad move here, in my opinion, but I think he's trying to trip her up by saying, and you told him that it was Officer Holtzclaw that picked you up there. And he thinks, I don't know. Yeah, it's a bad question.
Okay, so that she'll say yes, and then it wasn't really documented.
And it wasn't. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
That's kind of like the condom story, I guess.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it was that officer. Just I lied about the location, that's all.
Fair enough. You said that he drove you around downtown and dropped you off in a back alley, correct?
Yeah, well, yes, sir.
And that was all a lie.
Yeah, he drove me around. Just the location was.
Okay, let me fast forward. You're going to meet Detective Gregory again, correct?
Oh, yes, sir.
And this time you're in the county jail. That's what you've been talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
if I told you that was in July of 2014, would you have any reason to dispute that?
Well, no.
And you were there on some city tickets, correct?
Yeah. Well, actually, was actually what she called it, trespassing.
And ma'am, we don't have to get into all that. We'll leave it at that.
Well, that's what I was in for, trespassing.
We'll leave it at that. Now, on this date, you interview with Detective Gregory, and then do you recall another detective being there with him?
Oh, wow.
Galen somebody.
Oh, wow.
Oh
man
my
sitting at the-
gosh.
The man
Sorry.
sitting at
Except
the table
it's
here?
not, it's Musney.
Right. But she's
Let's see what she says.
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
The man sitting at the table here?
Yeah, him. God damn.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
He was here. He was there at the jail.
Yeah, he came to see me too.
Do you recall Lieutenant Musney being present?
Just them two. I don't remember. That's all I remember.
And that's the date that we changed our story to Liberty Station, correct?
Well, that's the day I changed my location story, yes.
Now you tell tell detectives that it was May 20th or 21st, correct?
I know it was May something. That's all I know.
Those 3 or 4 days before your domestic incident, right?
Right.
You say you were leaving Liberty Station Apartments, correct?
Correct.
Now, does Officer Holtzclaw roll his window down to get your attention?
I believe the window was down, yes.
He calls you over, correct?
Well, actually, he pulls right beside me.
Okay, and then
And I'm walking.
does he get out at that point?
Well, he speaks and then he proceeds to get out, attempts to get out.
He asked.
Oh no. Sorry.
He asked for your purse, correct?
Yeah,
You hand it to him,
yes.
and he immediately sees the crack pipe, correct?
Well, I suppose so. I don't know if he's seen it immediately. But yeah, he did.
Did he take it right away, or did he have to dig through your purse to find it?
No, because I didn't really have nothing in there but a crack pipe, had my lighter.
Had you been smoking crack at Liberty Station Apartments on that day?
Well, earlier, yeah.
And how long had you been at Liberty Station that day, if you recall?
Well, probably about 3 or 4 hours. I don't know. For a while.
You said he placed you in a patrol car.
Yes.
In the front seat or the back seat?
Back.
Passenger side or driver's side?
Driver's side.
And do you recall him running you on the radio or calling on the radio?
Well, I think he did. I don't remember if he was talking in the radio or not.
And do you recall him typing on the computer or anything like that?
I know he saw, I thought he was anyway, because that's what they normally do.
Any idea how long you were sitting there?
I assumed he was. I want to say about, I don't know, maybe 5, 8, 10 minutes, something like that.
5 to 10 minutes. Fair?
No audible response.
Ma'am, at the time, did you have some kind of skin condition that you had some scratches on your arms and things like that?
No. I had been somewhere where someone had bed bugs, actually, and I didn't know at the time, and they had bit me up.
And it was causing you to scratch yourself, itch all over.
No audible response.
Bothering you, correct?
Yes, that's how I didn't know I'd gotten bed bitten, bed bug bitten, or whatever.
That's what was causing you to have scratches and things like that, correct?
Well, yeah, I found out that like shortly after, some months after. Actually, when I was in county, they said they were insect bites.
Said were you informed that you check cleared for warrants, correct?
Yes, well, I assume he did, but I didn't know. I didn't have no warrants at that time.
So we say about 5 to 10 minutes at Liberty Station, and then we drive to the secondary location you talked about at 24th and Lindsay, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what did you call those apartments, or did you, or let me start that again. And what did you call those apartments, or did you don't know?
Well, I can't remember the name. I just always say 24th and Lindsay. The apartment's
You said it's by the prehistoric museum.
across the street. Yeah,
How long did you all sit there before Officer Holtzclaw got out of his car?
about 5 or 10 minutes. That's where he ran the check allegedly.
So you think he ran the check at 24th and Lindsay, not at Liberty Station?
Well, I didn't ever say he ran it at Liberty Station. He ran that check right there at 24th and Lindsay, or allegedly ran one. I assumed he was.
That's what you thought was occurring, correct?
No audible response. Well, I don't know what was occurring anymore.
Now, when he's looking at this crack pipe, where is he?
On 24th and Lindsay, sitting in the driver's seat.
Does he tell you that he's going to take you to jail for possession of paraphernalia?
No, he just really say that. He said, I can go to jail for that. Said that, you're not supposed to have this. I said, I know, most of the officers usually just step on him. And then he says,
And the reason you know that's because that's happened to you in the past, correct?
yeah, yes, sir.
And he steps out of the car at some point, correct?
Well, yes, sir.
And he opens the driver's side passenger door, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I assume your feet are inside the vehicle.
What's a driver's side passenger door? Anyway, yes, sir. I'm like this.
Facing forward.
Yes, sir.
Now, the way the cage is in that car, there's not a lot of room in the back seat, is there?
No, he didn't get inside the car with me, though. He stood outside the car.
It's cramped back there, is it not?
Well, it is to me.
Ma'am, I forgot to ask you earlier, what did Officer Holtzclaw's patrol car look like?
I believe he's driving one of them all black and white ones. I don't remember. I think it was a black and white. They didn't ask me so many times. I don't know if
You've been asked that a lot by officers?
Well, yes.
Now, on direct, you testified to two things that we need to talk about here. First thing you said was that he asked you to unzip your pants, correct?
Yes, he did. Yes, sir.
So you're saying that
He asked me what kind of panties did I have on. He told me to unzip my pants, and I did.
And that was the first thing that happened.
Yeah, when he got out of the car and approached the back where I was, the back seat.
And he's standing at the back door when he says that to you, correct?
Yes.
And you zip your pants, correct?
Yes.
Did you take them off?
No.
Testified on direct that he didn't touch you.
No, he just looked. Not then, he didn't.
And you say he just looked.
Yeah, didn't. Then he asked me to raise my shirt. He asked me, did I have any bra on? And I said no. He asked me to raise my shirt. I raised it. I was very upset.
Did he ask you to show him your breast?
Yes.
He asked you that?
Yes, he wanted to see me.
You're still inside the patrol car when that happened, correct?
Yes.
Still facing forward, correct?
Yes.
Then the conversation turns to oral sex.
Yes.
You said at that point you turned and his penis was in your face.
Just my head, just like this. Yes, and his penis was right there.
Was it erect at the time?
Yes. Well, yes, sir.
And you said he had a condom on.
Yes, sir.
How long did the oral sex last, if you recall?
Maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know. 5 at the most, because I was agitated, hysterical, and crying.
And your testimony is that he just stopped?
He wanted me to calm down. I just stopped.
You stopped?
Yeah, and
Now, you said that there was an issue about Uncle Wayne, another aunt. Were you going to Uncle...
when I came out the apartments, when he first approached me, he asked me where I was going and where I was coming from. First, he asked me where I was going. He asked me where I was coming from. I told him I was coming from Aunt Shirley's, going to Uncle Terry Wayne's.
Stop you right there. So you were going from Aunt Shirley's to Uncle Wayne's, correct?
Yeah, but when we got around the thing, he kept saying that. He said, I thought you said that you were coming from Terry Wayne's. He said, you just said you were he said, get your story straight. But I knew I had never said nothing different.
You said his name there, ma'am. Did you say Terry Wayne?
Yes.
Who is he to you?
Well, he's not my biological uncle, but he's like an uncle, like I've been knowing for a long time. He's like an uncle to me.
You said Officer Holtzclaw then drives you to near, we'll call it near 812 East Hill Street.
Well, actually, it is on Hill Street because I lived on Hill Street. He just didn't know that. I lived with my grandma.
How long did it take y'all to get from 24th and Lindsay to Hill Street?
A couple seconds, maybe a minute, not even a minute, half a minute, if that long.
Just about a field on Hill Street. Did you actually pull into that field?
Well, no, he attempted to. He cut his wheel like he was going to. And then I don't know what happened or what he was thinking, but it's like a person about to do something and then they have a quick thought and change their mind. It's like in an instant.
Oh, man.
Your testimony is he dropped you off at Terry Wayne's house, correct?
Well, yes, not at his house, at the opening of the apartments leading to Terry Wayne's house, apartment.
What did you call those apartments?
Capitol Crossing.
What are those, what are the cross streets on that?
Kelly.
And?
Oh, I don't know what you mean.
26th, 27th?
Oh, 26 and Kelly.
Did you go into Terry Wayne's apartment at that time?
Yeah, when he dropped me off, I walked down to his apartment and I was crying, and I kind of told him what happened. I was gonna sleep there earlier, but after going through that, I I was so confused and upset. I didn't know what to do with myself, so really went on a real bad smoking binge.
So your testimony is clear, ma'am. You went to Terri Wayne's apartment, went inside, correct?
Yeah,
Told Terri Wayne what happened, correct?
yeah.
And then left.
Yeah, then I made a call to a real close friend of mine. In her deposition I was listening to today, she said that at this time that this happened, she didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was so upset they couldn't understand what I was saying on the phone, so they sent someone to come get me, a friend, and to bring me to them out there in the Midwest city so they could see what was going on with me.
And you testified
Yeah.
that you went and smoked crack, correct?
Well, after I went and seen my friend after that, after I left his house in Midwest City, I just went on a smoking binge for like 3 or 4 days because I didn't know what to do with myself.
Ma'am, you said at the time this happened, you were...
Like on a real bad smoking binge, like where I was really just smoking.
Is she going to say that again? It's like 3 times in a row now. At the time, you said you were in a drug treatment program at the city rescue mission.
Bridge to life.
Is that here in downtown Oklahoma City?
Yes.
When did you start that program, ma'am?
Ms. McConnell. Ms. McConnell, objection, relevance,
I don't remember.
overruled.
Do you know when you completed the program?
I didn't complete.
How often would you stay at the city rescue mission?
Huh?
How often would you stay at the city rescue mission?
Well, really? That was really just like not my first time ever being there. That particular time, I think I only been at the city rescue mission twice. And that was the second time because I wanted to do the drug program.
Ma'am, would you have a reason to dispute that you were at the city rescue mission on May 20th of 2014?
Huh?
Would you dispute that?
On the day that I left going to Liberty, I guess. I don't remember.
So you're saying...
Well, you keep asking me these dates. I don't remember these dates.
I'm just asking if the record showed that, would you dispute it?
Like, I guess not, because I don't remember. I don't know. I'm just gonna say yes or no. I'm not gonna say yes or no because I don't remember exactly the dates any of it happened. I know like May.
Ma'am, you just test.
The year, that's it.
You just testified that you went from the city rescue mission to the Liberty Station apartments, correct?
Okay, yes.
That same date, correct?
Well, I suppose so because I don't know the date that it was. I just know it was May 2014. If I'd known, I'd have memorized the dates, but who's getting raped thinking of dates?
Ma'am, are you currently in a rehabilitation program now?
No, sir.
However, Detective Gregory offered you a rehabilitation program during one of your interviews, did he not?
Yes.
Did you ever check into that?
After I left county, I went to Jordan Crossing. Actually, I asked to go to a rehabilitation.
Ma'am, you testified on direct that you had several contacts with police. Have you not?
Yes.
You've actually been to prison, have you not?
Yes.
And you've gone to prison for possession of CDS, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
You've gone to prison for escape from penitentiary, correct?
Oh, yes, sir.
You've been to prison for another possession charges, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've also been to prison for possessing cocaine with intent to distribute, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've been to prison for possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, correct?
Yes, sir.
Maintaining a dwelling where CDS is kept.
Yes, sir.
And then another escape from a penitentiary, correct?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, are you aware that you have warrants for all of those cases out today?
Do I have warrants?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I have, court costs. And they said they're going to set me up an appointment.
Who said they would set you up with an appointment?
I mean, show me how to set up. I mean, show me who to talk to get that taken care of.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
Mr. Galen and them. Show me who I need to talk to.
Mr. Giger told you that he'd help you get set up a payment plan?
Yeah, to talk to the people that help you set up a payment plan up here. Mr. Galen, I think his name is. What's his name? Mr. Galen?
Man sitting at that table here?
Yes, sorry.
I'll represent to you that's Mr. Galen Giger from the district attorney's office.
Galen, yes, sir.
Okay. That's who you're talking about, correct?
Yes, him. Him and Miss Lori.
Ms. McConnell.
Yes, sir. Actually, I showed them my paper today.
So you were aware of it today, correct?
Yeah, I had a letter and they had told me next time I come in to bring them because I was trying to tell them about it and they didn't understand exactly what I was trying to say. And so I brought the paperwork to show them that I had received it in the mail. So at the time, I didn't have that warrant. It's for court costs.
Ma'am, you seem a little lethargic and tired today. Are you under the influence of any drugs as we sit here today?
No, not tired. I'm nervous, feeling all kinds of things inside right now. Nervous energy. I'm tired because I've been up here since 10 o'clock waiting.
When was the last time you've used crack cocaine?
Probably, being honest, a couple days ago.
Is that your drug of choice, ma'am?
No, I kind of had this relapse knowing that this was coming up. Knowing this trial was coming up. It's taking its toll on me, though.
Judge, may I have just a minute?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Any redirect?
Yes, Judge. I just have a few questions, Miss Morris, okay?
Okay.
The attorney who just spoke with you was asking you about that letter you got about your warrants. Do you remember him asking you about that?
Just now?
Yes.
I guess. I don't know if he said the letter. I told him the letter. He just said warrants.
Sure. Did you tell him that those warrants are for court costs?
Yeah.
And did you get a letter about the fact that you owe court costs?
Well, it's over there. I didn't know what it was for. I didn't understand it. That's why I told y'all about it last time. But y'all didn't understand what I was talking about.
So you brought that letter today?
So y'all told me to bring it the next time I come so y'all could see what it was talking about. So I put it in my transcripts the same day I went home so I would never forget it. What?
Go ahead. Okay, and then the judge says, go ahead and ask another question.
Sure. Yes, Your Honor.
That's really strange. Let's get
Yes.
past this. Wow.
And so,
Move on before you get busted, is what I see.
Yep.
so when you brought that letter, whenever you were saying that we were going to set up an appointment for you, an appointment to meet with someone about your court costs?
Yes.
Okay, but not to make your court costs go away, right?
No, to show me how to get on the payment plan.
The attorney asked you if you'd ever seen a lineup in this case. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember the lineup.
Did you say you narrowed it down to 2 people?
Lori, did you hear her say that? She said she picked the right person. What the hell?
Wow.
Well, at first, but at the end, I picked out the right one.
A lot of people, well, you've been asked to talk about a lot of different days today, right?
Right.
Is it easy for you to remember any of those dates?
Well, not the dates, just the events. I know that it was in May. I remember that it was.
Why is it hard for you to remember the exact dates?
Probably because, well, I don't know. I never really just thought that the dates were, I never paid attention to the exact dates.
Sure.
If I would have known they were going to be real important, really, I thought I wasn't even going to report the incident.
You told
I just wanted to forget everything.
Mr. Gray, who just talked to you, that you had gone on a smoking binge after the officer had stopped you at Liberty Station.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had been getting high, but it was different. It was different afterwards, like I was going nonstop, like destruction like.
Were you smoking crack after that happened? Is that what you're talking about when you say?
Well, I was smoking a lot of it afterwards.
Does smoking crack help you remember days, or does it make it worse to remember?
It really just numbed me where I don't think about nothing that I don't want to think about.
You had told Mr. Gray that you have lots of contacts with police, right?
I have had.
Have you ever accused them of sexually assaulting you?
No.
May I have a moment, Your Honor? I'll pass the witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
They did a lot of things, but they never did that.
All right, ma'am, Miss McConnell, show her out.
Hurry up.
Get her out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so they're going to take their afternoon break, and all the regular admonitions from the judge. And
hey, I wonder why they didn't ask Rosetta Great that question. She's been pulled over a lot of times. Oh, never mind.
yeah. All right, so that was that was crazy.
I want to know about those transcripts.
I do too. Yeah. What was the doggone transcripts about?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I wonder if they
caught that
gave
too.
her. I wonder if they gave her her preliminary transcripts and told her to go home and memorize them or something, because
that was interesting. It's interesting that Daniel's team didn't catch that.
Yeah. Wow. there was so much her. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to say this. So her story of the events and the story of the actual events that she tells originally during the first and second interviews all match the city rescue mission story that happened, that she says occurred on the 20th or 21st of May. The color, the type of car that the officer was driving, black and white old Crown Vic, which Daniel did not drive. But then they managed to get her to, the only thing they really managed to get her to change at this point, from what I can tell, is the location. I don't think she's realizing as she's testifying that in her mind, I feel like she still thinks that the date is the 20th or 21st, but she's trying to recall the story that they convinced her happened on May 8th. And so it sounds like the only thing that really, in her story, that really changes in the testimony is the location and not the date that it occurred, because that location, Liberty Station Apartments, was the legitimate stop that Daniel had on May 8th. But I don't think they probably wanted her on the stand any longer than they had to have her. Because, and like you said, Kay, it's no wonder he was found not guilty on all of her charges, because none of it was lining up. None of it was making sense. And when she said twice in this testimony, she said twice that when she talked about the photo lineup, first I picked out, it was one of two, but I know I picked the right one. And I know I already said this once tonight, but she didn't actually even choose one at that second interview during the lineup. And like Kay said, she wasn't sure. It was between Officer Jeff Dutton and between Daniel Holtzclaw. Whether Officer Dutton had ever had contact with Terri Morris or not, we don't know. I don't know. But we know Daniel did. So when she looked at that picture in the lineup, she did recognize him. But I don't feel like she really thought it was him who assaulted her. The thing about the lineup is that there are two other officers who work from the Spring Lake Division, even though they say they cleared, not Jeff Dutton, but what's his name? Sellers. Yeah, Jeff Sellers. He was on light duty at the time, and so he was on desk duty or something, or on light duty. If that was in the evening or late at night, if he was on desk duty, he was off work by that time. I need to go find out what time of day that 20th or 21st alleged assault took place. Because if it was after office hours, then it could have very easily been Jeff Dutton. And it's just a theory, not a full-blown accusation. But it could have been Jeff Dutton or any other officer, or like I've said before, somebody impersonating an officer. But she knows that she had contact with Daniel Holtzclaw, and he's sitting right there in front of her, and they've been showing her his picture throughout, I'm sure, this whole time. So in her mind, she really now believes, I think, that Daniel assaulted her. Because he is a cop that they're now, shoving in her face, and she's going, oh yeah, but she's still, she's just, her story just, I don't know, that was just a weird trial testimony. And yeah, thank goodness he was found not guilty on her charges, because none of her story added up to the police report and the interviews that we saw in her, and prelim to now. So,
And so when we started this, I gave a summary of why Terri Morris was important because of the lack of evidence to support Ligon's claim. That's one reason that it was so important for the detectives to try and connect Daniel to a prior allegation by Terri, which we're talking about the May 24th, 2014 report she made against an unknown officer. And she says that he orally sodomized her on, well, she says 3 or 4 days earlier. So the 20th or 21st of May, which we know those weren't the dates that Daniel interacted with her. But Gregory went to great lengths to make her a part of the case. By he was just relentless in hunting her down until he got her to become, even after she signed a refusal to prosecute form. Because after Ligon's allegations, Gregory told Morris the location, Liberty Station Apartments, in this trial testimony. They're saying, and then you told him that it was Liberty Station. No, come on, man. He told her. You sure it wasn't over by Liberty Station Apartments? Where he knew that Daniel had interacted with her. So then in July, he hunts Morris down in jail, which I don't think he really hunted her down in jail. I think he knew she was there. I think they let her sit there long enough where they could work with her. And he goes to the jail under the guise of getting her DNA. Okay, seriously? They're going to say that Daniel assaulted her on May 8th. The pants are from June 17th, June 18th shifts. And they're going to think that that's her DNA on those pants. I mean, she's closer than some of the other ones, but no, it's probably going to be someone he came into contact with those 2 days. But he hunts her down under the guise of getting her DNA. And we heard last week or the week before that he doesn't immediately turn on the recording device that they have at the county jail. And then all of a sudden, when he sets up the recording, she's changed her story. You can hear her going over it across the room in the background. And then Davis fills out the affidavit for arrest. And she claims untruthfully in the affidavit that the Oklahoma City Police Department's investigation into Daniel began on May 8th, 2014. No, Terri didn't even make the allegations until May 24th and says it happened on the 20th or 21st. So she just rewrites history and puts May 8th in this affidavit for arrest, which is incorrect. And they knew from Daniel's police records that he had interacted with her that day. Davis also wrote in an August 21st, 2014 affidavit and application for arrest warrant for Daniel. This is what she wrote. Quote, on 5/8/14, an investigation began in the sex crimes unit in reference to the above named defendant, an Oklahoma City police officer, sexually assaulting different women. But in actuality, the investigation began, like I said, on May 24th. when Morris made a allegation against an unknown officer, said she was orally assaulted near the city rescue mission on May 20th or 21st. And those are dates when Daniel had no interaction with her. But she was key in them even being able to arrest Daniel at all, because without Terri Morris, and now you hear her prelim testimony, you hear her trial testimony, and when you get a chance to hear her deposition testimony, I think it makes it just so clear that she was the key to making this case fly. She was the key to being able to turn him into a serial rapist, to be able to hold this officer accountable for Janie Ligon's allegations where there was no proof of him doing anything to her, nothing to support what she said. And it's weird because Terri Morris, he's found not guilty on her charges. Janie Liggins, he's found guilty on her charges with no supporting evidence. I guess just the emotion of her being the grandma or something. I don't know.
Well, and not only that, but I feel like because we know that there is zero DNA evidence of any kind, forensic evidence of any kind, from Daniel in Janie Ligon's SANE exam. Nothing but hers. Dr. Silkman has proven that, shown that to us. So, but they couldn't, I don't know how this happened, but they had to find a way somehow to make sure that Janie Liggins, of all of the accusers, that Janie Liggins at the very least had to be a guilty verdict because she was the initial, she was the one who came forward first or whatever. So I don't know if if I'm off in that way, but that still puts that responsibility on the jury when they're told that there is no forensic evidence whatsoever in her SANE exam that goes to Daniel, how they still manage to find him guilty on all of her charges. So, and then not at all on Morris's, and rightly so. Clearly her story isn't adding up at all here, but a lot of the stories don't add up. A lot of the testimonies don't add up. As we go through these, none of them add up. None of them make any sense. Daniel Speaks, one of the jury members, Daniel Speaks is his name. He does an interview, and he even says, basically, he says a lot, but he literally said that they split the baby. They had 36 charges. I think the jury was just so mind fucked at that point. They didn't know what to believe, who to believe. I think they might have had their minds, it might have been easier to say not guilty completely at all on some of them, like Terri Morris, like Shadarian Hill, but not Kayla, not guilty on Kayla Lyles, because their stories were just so absurd, if nothing else. But everybody else, it's just like, we just, we had 36 charges, and I feel like they got to, I don't know, man, did they just get to a point where they just said, screw it, man, this one guilty, this one guilty, this one, I don't know. I'm just, pulling stuff out of the air, because really none of the stories made any sense. And the thing is that the state tried so hard to make Shardarian Hills really be a big deal because of the whole Facebook bullshit. But again, her initial story of it, that occurred in the hospital is just unbelievable. And so I don't know, man. It's all a big, it's very frustrating and very confusing. But that's just how it's just the way this whole case has been. It's just very frustrating and very confusing because we have the benefit, I guess you could say, of looking side by side all of the documents and transcripts of this, one by one, and picking out the inconsistencies. And to be fair, the jury didn't get to hear the pretrial hearing or preliminary hearing, but so they don't know about all the inconsistencies from pretrial to trial. Oh yeah, that's all. Thank you so much. Katniss put the link for the interview with Daniel Speaks. She put that in the chat, so definitely take a look at that. It's really frustrating. It's a whole thing that he speaks a little bit closer to the hand, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, the more we read and the more we learn, the more frustrating it gets. I mean, forget the anger part of it. That's just a given, but the frustration of how were any of these, Tabitha Barnes, for crying out loud, her story, you guys are going to go nuts when you read it to hers, because her story is absolutely a mess. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic here, but and then Ron Hill is one of the other jurors that gave an interview to the media after the trial, after the verdict. So anyway, I don't know. I need to stop because I'm just all sorts of like frustrated listening to this transcript. And so I wanted to ask Kay or Cherie, though, if they remember, I've seen the pictures that they used in the photo lineup. Do you remember if Jeff Sellers was in that lineup?
He wasn't.
No, yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought so, but I just wanted to double check before. So
she was very uncertain. She would go like, yeah, that's him. Wait.
Yeah.
No, could be.
That could be him. Yeah.
Could be.
Can you, because we know Jeff Sellers had contact with her on April 11th, and now that's going a long way back. But as scattered and frustrated and twisted as Terri Morris is and sounds, there's a part of her that is has some things that are very solid in her mind and in her memory, and or at least it feels like that to me. So
I agree.
Do you agree? So I think if they had put Jeff Sellers in the lineup, there might have been a three-way tie of officers that she would have been trying to choose from. I really do. Again, that's just my opinion, but it's just, for them to not put Jeff Sellers in that lineup, that was done on purpose. They didn't want to take the risk that she chose Jeff Sellers and not Daniel, I think is what that whole strategy was. Anyway.
I think you're right about the transcripts, that it would make sense for them to give her the preliminary, because that is what the defense might or will probably try to get questions from well, you said this then, stuff like that.
Yeah. We're going to go back through and we're going to just kind of hit some questions. I'll put them on the screen and one of you guys can read them. Again, thank you to all of you who have joined the membership, or whatever, however you refer to it. I don't know. Thank you all so much. And Daniel just will be, I know he will be really, really happy, to know that he's got even more support than what he already knows he has. So I'll put them up and you guys can answer the questions, or read them out and answer them.
Oh, there's a good one. How does one overturn 18 convictions?
That's brutal, and they designed this case to make it difficult to overturn. I mean, I think they thought he would be convicted on more than 18, but you have to overturn every single one of them, because just think about what if you overturned all of them except for Sherry Ellis? That's 62 years.
Yeah.
For just her. So you've got to overturn them all, but how do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a great question, and it's hard. It's
hard to answer. Yeah.
Always trying to figure out how to take something apart, hoping that some things will happen. Hoping that someone in the family or the accusers will grow a conscience if they know that this is really manufactured and they've been playing around, or just going along with it.
If you can just people get people, help people see that how contrived it is, how little real physical evidence, how no physical evidence actually, that's, I don't know what to say.
The other.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you.
Well, I didn't know what I was going to say. Like, nothing real. There's Adara's, but it was such a minute amount of the DNA that it's transfer DNA is what it is. They don't have it in Oklahoma, but they do.
Yeah, according to Galen Gigger and the rest of the state investigators, right?
See, that's what's so frustrating is, according to the two jury members that spoke, it was the DNA that was the biggest part that caused him to convict. But the DNA only pertained to one accuser, Adara Gardner. So however many counts she had, was it 3 counts? Only found guilty on 2 of the 3 counts on her.
I did put together a document on that last week. I'll have to go grab it.
But the other thing I was thinking about is, and Kim Davis said when she was talking to Michelle Malkin, and I say this all the time, Kim said, well, we don't always get things done when we have 1, but when you have 13, meaning you can't get a conviction, or you can't make it stick unless you pile on. And then that assures that no one can undo it.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, it is very difficult, Joffrey. Am I saying that right, Joffrey?
That's how I say it, Joffrey.
Okay. It's very difficult to overturn 18 convictions, and that's what has to be done. But I think about, all these wrongful convictions all around the United States, all around the world, really. But I see most of the ones in the United States more. And you see more and more exonerations, more and more instances where prosecutors, judges are getting exposed. And I feel like as the years click by, and we're already 8 years in with Daniel, but I feel like as time goes by, it's in 8 more years, it's going to be I mean, maybe there'll be consequences for prosecutors who do these things, for judges, I mean, maybe the whole Court of Criminal Appeals racket, those judges that are all placed there to uphold the convictions, to make sure that these cases don't get overturned. Because it's political and it's money that they're worried about at that point. Because you give someone a chance to get out, they're going to sue the hell out of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's financial, it's political, but I feel like we're going to start seeing a lot more cases or instances where there's a pattern of corruption that happens with the same players. And then it's a bunch of cases that get looked at all together that these same players were all involved in. I mean, that's my hope anyway, that will eventually happen. Because Daniel's not the only one.
Right. Well, yeah, we know that. We absolutely know that. In Oklahoma, for sure. And not just of these kinds of charges either, but just, murder or whatever kind of accusations or charges that people have. Looks like we lost Jack. I hope everything's okay. I don't know. It's just really frustrating. So it's a great question, Joffrey.
He also asked, I believe it was him, how well known is the case in the U.S. compared to MAM?
Yes. Let's see. Oh, let's see. I've got it. Well, I've got everything starred here, I think. So, okay. So how well known is the case in the U.S. compared to MAM? And I had commented back that, hey, Jack, everything all right?
Well, it threw me out.
Oh.
I just said you're done. You're done right now, so we're gonna throw you out.
Okay. I'm glad they let you back in. But yeah, it's. I would say it's not well known at all. I mean, look at us. Our channel is only 452 or whatever members strong, which I'm so grateful for.
You're in 500s now.
500. That's what I meant, was 500. I know. We got stuck in the 400s for so long. Yeah. So, and there are other YouTubers who will cover Daniel's case in like one podcast or one video that they might do. But the information, most of the information that I've seen from most of them is just completely inaccurate. And even those who seem like they believe Daniel's innocent, even those are giving inaccurate information. And yet those are, I mean, and those YouTubers, those content creators will have hundreds, thousands of subscribers. But that's what they do. They just pump out different types of criminal cases or, whatever it is that they're covering. So as far as recognition, other than Michelle Malkin's video that she did, Daniel in the Den, and then of course what Brian Bates has done, and then what we're trying to do, really there's not very much awareness at all. Nothing even close to MAM. And Jack's been saying for years that this case needs a documentary.
Big time.
And I agree. But can you imagine trying to put together a documentary with this much information? I mean,
you need 15, 20 parts truly to cover it. I mean, Michelle Malkin packed in so much, but there's so much lacking that there's no way she could cram into 2-3 hours. No way.
No,
I like a good 15, 20 parter myself.
One of the best It's good stuff to binge on, right? But yeah,
it would be called Mar, and then when Giger put out his rebuttal, it would be called Car. Sorry.
What?
Mar and Car instead of Ma'am and Cam.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I entertained myself all day.
No, you were fine. Everybody else probably got it, but I'm just not very quick sometimes. So yeah, there's no awareness, and that's why we need, folks like you, those that are here who are paying attention and who are, either completely believe in his innocence, or definitely have a lot of questions about the case and have an open mind, or are sitting on the fence. I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. Something's weird, but I don't know which it is. That's what we need. We just need more information out there. And, for me, this is all I know how to do. I just know how to do this. And so, I would like to do more. I would like to do something else, but short of, hiring the best there is in post-conviction. It's a big task that's ahead of us. So, that's why I'm so grateful for all of you guys who are here, or who at least rewatch at some point, because it really does help. And then another comment by Joffrey, when you guys were reading her transcript, her testimony, I guess Joffrey was like, wait a minute. She was talking about the reason why she didn't, why didn't you report anything, or why didn't you, say something to the police or whatever. And she was, or why did you do when he told you to give him oral sex? Why did you do it? Because it was the police and I was scared. I think this is when this comment came up. And so Joffrey says, this is just nonsense, right? A woman will just comply because he is a police officer. Because I would just say, but this is just me, and I don't do drugs, and I don't, have severe mental health issues complicated by drug use, like a lot of these accusers did, or like Terri Morris did. But me, the person I am right now, I would just put my hands behind my back and say, sorry, officer, take me to jail. Take me to jail, or kill me, whatever you're going to do. But no,
I can actually see some of these women being afraid that they will be targeted. Especially the ones that are walking all the time.
The walkers, yeah.
I mean, it's not far-fetched for me to think that if something really happened to these women, if they were really raped by a police officer, that they would be scared of retaliation. I think
so too. I absolutely think so too. And that's why I said that I'm not in their shoes, of course. But yeah, I think that absolutely, especially those who were on the streets all the time, which is, for the most part, most of these women were on the streets all the time. And I mean, literally either prostituting themselves or walking from one, drug location to a next, or from, home to the drugs, or drugs back to home, or whatever. But they didn't have cars that they were driving around in, or people who were, giving them rides from one place to another, generally speaking. So yeah, especially those walking. Again, my mind is going back through, I'm seeing little video reels in my mind right now of us being there this last summer. And man, there's just there's a lot of those places that would be scary to be walking alone at night.
Yeah, sure. But this is their home. This is their neighborhood. I mean, as run down as some of the places are, there's a lot of pride in that neighborhood.
Sure. Well, that is their hood. for sure.
There are people who their homes are neat as a pin. Just on the side of where Sherry Ellis says where she was stopped by Daniel, but where she says he put her in the car and took her around the corner. There's a home right there on the corner that I bet the lady's probably 80 years old. It looks like she still lives alone. I've seen her come out of her house. She's very friendly. She probably can guess what I'm doing, measuring the curb and taking a bunch of pictures. But very friendly. Looking out. She spoke to me, didn't ask me what I was doing, but she was observing what was going on in her neighborhood. But there's a lot of history in that neighborhood where the residents there were raised in that neighborhood. They've chosen to stay.
Yeah. And there were a lot of nice, cute, remodeled or just well-kept homes too in that particular area. So yeah, for sure. I know I'm realizing I probably made them all sound like a bunch of, scummy, horrible people in the entire area. But it was no,
it's not like that.
I didn't feel like that either when we were driving around. And we even commented on how some of the houses were really cute, had been remodeled really nice. Even those that weren't remodeled had nice, the lawns were maintained. You could tell that whatever they had, they wanted to take care of it, you're right. It is just that's their stomping ground. That's where they were comfortable. And, and that's okay. I get all that too. Under Your Scar says, I don't get how all interrogations were not in evidence for jurors to see the changes in testimonies. Well, I think that was wrong too, and I don't know if I would really call them interrogations as much as interviews. None of them were really interrogated. And then I think another question that Joffrey had, and this is reminding me, is were any of these accusers given polygraphs? Kim Davis addresses that in the interview with Malkin, and it made sense. She asked, did any of the women do a polygraph? And Kim Davis said, we don't give victims, we don't make victims, take a polygraph. And that makes sense to me, but except for Kim Davis is just a liar, and all of these accusers were created stories, so that doesn't mean that they should have a polygraph. So, no, there were no polygraphs given to any of the accusers. And, I guess that's the way it should be, I guess. And then I've missed a bunch of stuff that's popped up here. Catnet is dropping some great links in the chat too for you guys to check out. I didn't put any links or of anything in the description of the video, but yeah, definitely need a docuseries. And let's see here, Jack, do you want to read the comments when I put them up? Or anybody, I don't care who.
Oh, sure, absolutely. This one from Cherie, I don't recall. Yes, Catnet, Super Mod, Badass, a 20-part docuseries, and Stacey Seabrook could turn it into a 20-part docu-song. Yeah, that's true. That's excellent.
And then, which would be amazing, we're all here for that, with Catnet singing backup.
Yeah, we got to get this. Yeah, okay, we've got it.
We've got it rolling, on film. Right?
We've got it on film, so Cat's doing the backup, sing backup. Got it.
I have had the honor, actually, and I don't even know if she knows it, but I have had the privilege of hearing Kat sing. And she's got quite the voice, I just have to say.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah. So, or she
denies it, I'm sure.
yeah, well, I think she knows she can sing. I just don't, and she just, it takes a lot to sing in front of people. So I get it.
Sure.
I get it.
Sure it does. Absolutely.
So yeah.
I love
I'll sing.
that.
I'll sing in front of people, but the people will be paying me to stop. But
I love this song that Michelle's son wrote and composed for
Yes.
Daniel.
You know what?
I don't know where that link is.
I don't know where it is offhand either. I know where to find it, but it would take me some time to find it. Yeah, it's an amazing. We'll see if we can find that and then put it in Discord, in Daniel's part of Discord, because it's an amazing song, and every time I hear it, it makes me cry. So
another one that really blew me away in singing was Zoe.
Oh yes! Oh my goodness! Yes,
Zoe. That girl
yes.
can sing too. Wow.
Beautiful voice. Beautiful voice. Kay, do you know what his son is? His son. What is his name? I can't remember, but I think he has a YouTube channel.
I don't know why I've spaced his name out right now.
Jesse, isn't it?
That's the husband.
Check your purse for a crackpot. I'm just saying.
Well, I know there's not one in there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I don't
They
have one
smashed
either.
it.
Right.
Oh gosh, I want to find that song because it's so beautiful, but I just can't think of what his name is. But I can't even think of the name of the song. Because even if I could come up with the name of the song, I could find it, but I can't. We'll find it and put it in the Discord for you guys to listen to. It's a beautiful song, and he was only something like 12 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like Innocent, something to do with Innocent. I can remember that much, but
yeah, Zoe has a beautiful voice. And really, really beautiful voice. I not that I was surprised that she could sing, but I was surprised that a beautiful voice I was hearing that I didn't know whose voice it was Zoe's. I was just blown away by it. So, but we'll find the song.
It's called Innocence by J.D. Malkin.
Okay, I'm going to find it because I'm pretty sure.
It's on Spotify. So we'd really get dinged for playing that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay.
Anyway, we can put it in the.
We'll find it and get it put for you. Put it in there for you guys to hear. So anyway, just because I know you guys don't hear this kind of story from me enough lately, particularly, I'm having a small medical procedure done next Monday, rather next Tuesday, that I have to be sedated for under a general anesthetic. Nothing big, nothing's wrong, everything's fine. Just have to do something. Oh, is that it? Cherie found it. It's in so Cherie's put a link to JD's song in the chat for you guys to listen to. Thank you so much. And so that's on Tuesday, and then on Monday, I have surprise, a lot of dental work that I have to have done again. So it's just going to be trial transcript reading. But I might end up because Jack is also able to operate the StreamYard for me. So it's possible, depending on how I feel, I might just have Jack do all of it next Thursday. We'll see how I feel.
Yeah. The only one caveat to that is that I can't restream if I'm doing the streaming. It won't it won't let me do it.
Yeah, I know that. But
well, there may be a way around that, but I'm not sure. I'm going to check into it. I did think about something because I'll check into it.
Okay. And listen, I've been on pain pills, not for the last week and a half or so, but I've been on pain pills since my last dental appointment. So having two different procedures done in 2 days, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be tied up.
Let me tell you, living better through chemistry is not always a bad thing.
I know. And I am not going to hold back. I won't, because
absolutely.
The last several weeks have been really rough, so I'm not going to make myself suffer needlessly. Anyway, so we'll come. That'll happen, but just reminding everybody, it's going to be a couple of hours. Well, it's already been a couple hours on this one, but the transcript is over 150 pages long, so it's going to take some time. Now, those of you who are members, as soon as Jack helps me or reminds me how, I'm going to make a private room in Discord. So if you haven't joined Discord, but you're a member of the channel now, you want to join Discord so that you can take advantage of the members only private room where you'll be able to access transcript for next week, the day before we read it live. So that's the perk of joining the channel and contributing to contributing to transcripts. So and I will work this week on getting an outro done that includes your names for those of you who have joined. I will also add your name to the credits of the outros that we do at the end as well. So anyway, that's kind of pretty much all I have. I don't know if anybody on the panel. Kay, do you have any last comments?
Not really. I feel like I've been talking the whole time.
I feel like I've been talking the whole time.
What's new?
I know, I'm like a jabberjaws. That's why my mom called me Chatty Cathy my whole life. Well, when I was a little girl. This didn't just happen. I didn't just become a chatterbox. I've been a chatterbox my whole life. So
my teacher used to say, or sign my report card, Cherie likes to talk. I was a Chatty Cathy too.
But you're so quiet. You don't really say much. Talk more.
I changed, I guess.
Listen, but if you guys remember back to when Cherie first started, we could barely get a hello out of her and a goodbye. But she has really, really grown and become much more confident, and she does a great job. So, it's not like she's had any reason to not be confident, but I understand that. I get it. Not everybody can be like me and not care who listens or if anybody's listening and just talk. So it's okay. But she really has grown and been willing to read a lot more and speak a lot more and share her experiences and stuff a lot more.
That's true. I used to get panic attacks just having to say welcome or whatever.
Yeah, she really did. She's doing really great. So good job. And TJ Anderson says, I feel like I've been lurking this whole time. Yeah, you don't really. It's been a little quiet between you and Liam. If I don't have both of you in the chat, and then if we throw T1 in on the rare occasion that T1 shows, it's a freaking whole different show. So You lurk all you want, TJ. Okay, and Under Star says, I'm an open book and never shut up most times. Here I work and listen so you can't tell. I get it. I get it. And catnip. Yes, I know. Catnip. Someday I'm going to, someday, baby steps, right? So we'll get you on here too, Catnip. Because Cat has a lot to offer and share. So
She does.
yeah, and
You know, it's all mental. You know, I never had any desire to do anything like this ever, but you know, as time passed, that I mean, I've talked in front of a lot of people, and I guess that's coming, you know, as from a supervisory standpoint, you know, being able to approach people and talk to them. But you know, always just looking at it for me, I just look at it as talking to a friend. And if I like, if we're reading or, you know, if we're just talking on here, I'm just talking to a friend, and everything else. That way, you know, it's more personable to me. And I understand the difficulty. I didn't want to do it. I was like, I don't want, you know, 50 people listening to me, or however many people are on, you know, in the live or whatever. I don't want people to listen to me talk. But you get past it, move on, just like you're talking to a friend, and that's what I did anyway.
And that's how it's kind of worked for me too. The same as Jack, I've always been a supervisor in one way, shape, or form, and had to speak in front of, you know, those who I supervise.
You're in charge of course. That's right.
Yeah,
yep.
But yeah, to do something like this, I wanted to do it, and I thought about doing it for I can't even tell you how many years. But my confidence was like, no, there's no way. But yeah, now I'm just like, I don't care if, you know, whoever, I don't care if there's 20 people listening, 5 people listening, or 2,000 people listening, because I don't know them. I don't see them. I don't know them. I can't hear them. Kay must have had to go. Sorry, Kay. So anyway, thank you, Kay. Thank you so much. And yep, definitely see you next week. And thank you so much for all your help tonight, of course, and all of your contribution and information that you share with us. But yeah, I'm just, anyway, now it's just like, I'm just like right now, I'm just talking to you and Cherie, and that's it in my mind.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's no big deal. So, but you know what? If we can share stuff, then other people get something from it. I'm here for that. And if nobody is interested in it, they don't have to be here. They don't have to come and listen to me chatter and talk and get all, you know, keyed up and tongue twisted and all that stuff. You don't have to. If you don't like it, you can leave or not come. And I don't mean that to be rude or to be bitchy, but you know, we all have have choices. So, and Kay, you know, and Kay's she's the one, she's our go-to for information. If there's something we don't know or we don't know where to find it, you know, we have to go to Kay. Kay's the one who brought all the, you know, information to us, you know, or, you know, to be able to even share. Hi, Colette. And so, and she's, you know, always got information, but I also appreciate about Kay, when she's done and had enough, she's done and she's had enough, and she'll go. And that's okay too. So, you know, it's fine. And anyway, maybe, I mean, the actual talking part of it or presenting part of it isn't the hard part for me. That's just the muscle memory for me. But it's the preparation that's the most difficult part for me. So, hey, Colette, you know what? It's okay. You can watch on replay. We're about ready to wrap it up, and you can watch the replay. And you know, you can what is it? Forward through all my chitter chatter. So that's a benefit too. And, whoops. Yeah. And under your stars, we'll take this one last comment. Just Rhonda, help me how I mixed you, just Rhonda and Rhonda SD. Who is she? Oh, Rhonda SD is, and I know I see a message from you on through Messenger and I haven't responded. I'm so sorry. Rhonda SD is from UK.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful soul, and she and I met, and Cherie and several others met in Wisconsin. She came to Wisconsin from the UK. Is that 2 summers ago, Cherie? Yeah, 2 summers ago. And we met her, and she is very, very much a supporter of Brendan's. I don't know. I really don't know where she stands with Stephen, honestly, but I know that she fully supports Brendan and his innocence. Yeah, you know her. I know you know her. It's not clicking right now. So I'm going to share your story really quick, Under Your Stars. So Under Your Stars reached out to me on Messenger about a week ago, and I'm really sorry, but I don't remember exactly what the message was at this point. But she had been sending me stuff on Messenger and wondering why I wasn't responding. First of all, I still don't really respond because I don't ever use Messenger or Facebook. So just know that. But she didn't realize that she was sending it to Rhonda SD and not me. So that's why I wasn't responding. You were sending it to the right me, to the right Rhonda. But I love Rhonda. She is a beautiful, beautiful person. And her heart is just overflowing with love and support for Brendan. So, oh yeah, she's an amazing woman. Okay. Next week, same time, 5 o'clock Central. I do want to ask a question for those of you who are still in chat or still watching. I'm noticing in analytics that I'm getting more views around this time at night, like more like, what is it? What time is it Central Time right now? 7:30. So I'm thinking around 7 Central, when I have the most views, the most people watching live. You know what? Let me know in the comments or in Discord if later than 5 p.m. Central works better for you, if you're more available, if you have time to interact more, or if it doesn't matter either way.
If you're going by Central Time, people, it probably, if it was 5, it would be hard for me to, join at 5.
At 5. Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I agree. I think it's so 7 p.m. Oh, you're Eastern, that's right. Under Your Stars. So yeah, anyway, I'll consider moving it by a half hour or so and see how that goes too. As far as how many people are able to join and view live. Okay, so next week, Galen Gigger's trial testimony in regards to Terri Morris, and what you've heard from Terri Morris's testimony, you're going to probably be, frustrated, angry, irritated, laughing. I don't know, but I guarantee you it's probably going to be very interesting what Galen Digger is going to have to say in his testimony. And again, Jack will help me get that room fixed up over in Discord, and the trial transcript from Rocky will go into the private members only room the day before we read it live. And again, that is the perk that you get for joining the channel. So if that's, there's no other comments well, Jack, really quick, what's going on this weekend in foul play?
I'm not entirely positive, but I think Doc is going to. I think he's maybe taking a little bit of a dive off of. It's still going to be about the book, the wrecking crew, but I'm not entirely sure. He's not told me for positive yet what he and Neverly have got cooked up, but I think that's right. Still about the book, but maybe a little bit of a diversion here, but we'll see.
Okay.
And then Sunday, as I said the other night, I'm heavily considering starting into the CASO, Calumet County Dispatch Calls. I just want to do it right, so it's number one, informative, and number two, not confusing, because how we got those calls is completely different than how the MTSO calls, right? So that's probably where I'm gonna head into the open mic for Sunday, get started on that, because that's gonna be a pretty good project in itself.
Okay, so we're not going to read Dvorak's. Sandra Morris.
Yeah, I probably should continue that because we did talk about that. I remember now. So we got Sandra Morris. I mean, we don't have that many more depositions to go to actually finish them out. So maybe we'll do hers and maybe one more if we have time. It doesn't get too late. I mean, the calls are not going anywhere, right? So.
Right.
Maybe I'll just do that. Yeah, I think that's a better plan. I can give me a little bit more time to think about how to organize these. Okay, again, it's the Calumet County dispatch calls are a different animal than the Manitowoc dispatch calls. So I got to approach it from a different way. So it's, number one, again, informative, enjoyable for people to listen to. Number two, not confusing, because so yeah, I think that's what we'll do.
Okay. Well, you have to change. I change it. I was just wondering.
No, but I want to get through them, and another week or so to prepare to get ready to dive into these, because it's going to be a pretty good project in itself. So I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. I won't have had any pain medication at that point yet. I won't have had any procedures or anything done. So if you do need any reading Sunday, I should be available to help with that.
Yeah. Excellent. Hopefully Susan will have her internet back or whatever issues she's having. I know she's having problems. So
that's too bad.
Yeah.
Really quick, I wanted to tell TJ, if you're not getting notifications, well, obviously I'm sure you've already hit the all notifications bell, but if you're not getting notifications, try unsubscribing and then resubscribing and hitting the bell again. Most of the time, that's what seems to fix the no notification thing for most people. So, okay, I've said 100 times now that we're gonna end it here. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for those of you who have jumped right in and joined, taken up the opportunity to join. And as things become more successful and I get more subscribers and those kinds of things, and I'm able to show more information that gets approved, we'll add more higher pay levels, and the more you pay, of course, the more benefits you'll get. So I think that's how that works. So anyway, I think that so until next week, Thursday, February, whatever that is, 8th, I don't know.
It is the 8th.
Is it the 8th? So February 8th, I'm going to switch it to 5:30 p.m. Central Time. And until then, peace out.